Hi, it's Mike Stiles, and this is This Week in the Metaverse, your weekly newscast that keeps you up to date on everything that isn't real and yet is. It's April 24th. Here's what happened around the Metaverse this week. It looks like a lot is riding on this expected new Apple AR/VR product. Is it a Metaverse saver? We'll see. Mac Rumors' Julie Clover is writing about one little insider bit of information that says it just might be. Here's what we think we know. It'll be called Reality Pro or Reality One, feature dual 4K micro OLED displays from Sony for 8K total resolution, has over a dozen cameras for mapping the area around you, reading your facial expressions, and interpreting your gestures. The design is a sleek curved visor of aluminum, glass, and carbon fiber that keeps it light. In fact, the battery's not even in the headset. You wear it at your waist. Now, despite all that, it's being met with some skepticism because A, it's going to cost around $3,000, and B, it's going to roll out with pretty limited functionality. Plus, the market hasn't exactly embraced any of the competing products that are already out there, so lots of reasons to be negative, but there's a guy named Evan Blass who has a pretty decent track record of inside reporting, who's been in touch with one of Apple's product testers. This tester went very quickly from lamenting its underwhelming capabilities to being blown away in a take my money kind of way. The debut has been pushed back several times, so apparently that time was used to make noticeable improvements, and it's being compared to how the Apple Watch was rolled out. Unimpressive at first, but within a couple of generations, it's become indispensable for a lot of users. Mine tells me if I'm dead or not. Le Monde reports the European Parliament approved the world's first comprehensive rules to regulate crypto in an effort to protect investors from getting scammed or losing everything they've got. You remember FTX, right? $32 billion gone in a flash. And Europe's real big on protecting people from themselves. The legislation covers crypto assets, things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and NFTs. The EU Commissioner for Financial Services said the rules, had they been in place, would have regulated FTX's activities and actually prevented that disaster. How? Well, under the Markets in Crypto Assets regulation, crypto asset service providers would have to protect your digital wallets and be liable if they lose your crypto assets. Large providers would also have to disclose their energy consumption because climate change is going to kill us all by next year. Another rule would enforce greater oversight of fund transfers and crypto asset trades, making it more like traditional finance practices. And nobody's ever lost money with those, have they? The EU says this will make it harder for criminals to use crypto for illegal activity. The criminals are likely saying, "Hold my beer." There are critics, but the criticism is actually that the EU didn't go far enough. If you're a new crypto company looking for big venture capital money, that's going to be a little harder than it has been in the past, according to Jeremy Nation with Decrypt. There's now a clear trend VC funding has shifted away from crypto projects. Let's compare this year's and last year's Q1 funding. It dropped from $9.1 billion in 2022 to $1.7 billion in 2023. Now, I cut a lot of math classes, but even I know that's a huge drop. Crunchbase says it's an 82% drop. Delta Blockchain Fund founder Kavita Gupta said there are a few reasons this is happening. Companies that raised money at a really high valuation in 2021 are back trying to get extensions at those same valuations. But the investors are saying, you're not worth that at all anymore. That is, if you ever were. Those high valuations were because of companies like Yuga Labs, Polygon, and yes, our old friend FTX. Only 3 companies came out of Q1 this year with sizable funding, and only 2 of those got over $100 million. Some companies were planning on launching tokens, but when they saw the VC money freezing up, put those plans in mothballs. Gupta says Ethereum and Bitcoin still have some balance, but other crypto assets might have a much harder time finding cash. So if the money is shifting away from crypto, where is it shifting to? AI products. VCs are absolutely swooning over those. I mentioned Yuga Labs, that's the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT people. Well, congrats to them because they just won a big court case about copyright infringement. Here's what Bitcoinist tells us happened. Yuga sued Ryder Ripps and Jeremy Cahan in June of 2022 because they put out an NFT collection that were identical copies of the apes and used marketing material similar to Bored Apes. A federal judge in a pretrial summary judgment said, no, you can't do that, and Yuga Labs is entitled to an injunction and damages. Ryder Ripps' defense was this was critical satire of the Bored Apes protected under the First Amendment and fair use. And they were satirizing them because the Bored Ape NFTs depict racist and subtle Nazi references. You'd be surprised how many people in the NFT community agree that, yeah, they do. But the judge, clearly humorless, said, nah, this wasn't parody or satire. This was trademark infringement that risked hurting Bored Ape's stellar reputation and confusing Bored Ape fans. They're going to figure out the damages during trial. Yuga Labs initially wanted $200,000 in statutory damages, but that claim was dismissed by the presiding judge. Does this sound like you? You invested heavily in crypto, or even moderately, and you've been watching its performance and saying, hey, wait a minute, this is blowing up in my face. It could be because you made one of the 8 mistakes outlined by Florence Mackay in Cryptopolitan that led to the crypto market just not working out for you. 1. Lack of understanding. You didn't take time to educate yourself about the technology and its underlying principles. 2. Poor security. Crypto's decentralized, so you're responsible for securing your own funds. There is no FDIC insurance and nothing to protect you from losses. 3. Emotional trading. Digital assets are volatile. That sends newbies into fits of euphoria and devastation where they make impulsive decisions during the big mood swings. 4. Impatience. Like all investments, you need to wait for your investments to mature and not sell too early or miss out on long-term gains. 5. Following the crowd. Hype and speculation that leads to people piling on, fueled by FOMO. The crowd is often really, really wrong. 6. Neglecting diversification. Putting all your eggs in the crypto basket puts you in a very bad spot. And even within your crypto investments, you should be diversified. 7. No discipline. You have to stick to your trading strategy or investment plan. Investing should not be the same as gambling. And 8. Over-leveraging. Also true of all investments. If you borrow money or use margin trading to increase your position beyond what you can pay for, losses get magnified. That's not what you want to do with an already volatile investment. You could end up having to sell your holdings at a loss to cover your debt. I write this story as my wife forces me to watch Mamma Mia for the 34th time. ABBA, yes, ABBA, have proven themselves to be downright pioneers in virtual reality. While everyone was thinking about going into the metaverse as an avatar, those darn dancing queens were thinking about bringing avatars out here into the real world, where people would pay good money to watch them perform on stage. I'm talking about their Voyage show, which has its own custom-built arena in London where the group members' avatars, de-aged back to 1979, perform every movement and facial expression captured when the real ABBA performed. Music Radar's Ben Rogerson writes, it's been selling out, just had its millionth customer, and can keep running forever as long as it's making money. Age, illness, band infighting, artists wanting to have a life, none of that can get in the way. ABBA's Bjorn Ulvaeus was nervous at first, but is now really compelled by the ability of avatars to disrupt the live performance business. He says that's how the future looks. That's what's going to happen. Copies of ourselves will go on living after we're dead. From a metaverse perspective, ironically, what makes this work so well is real human beings, ABBA fans, coming to the arena to dance and enjoy the show together as humans in reality. Anyway, it seems inevitable other artists will do this same thing, maybe even Scritti Politti. That's all I've got for you this week. If you really hate the show, simply do nothing. But if you don't, mention it to somebody. And we'll be back next week.